And welcome to Brain Wealth with your host, Bryan Repple. Bryan, good to be with you. How are you?
Hey, great being here, Bill. Great to be with the listeners. And then we're going to have an interesting, maybe a little challenging show for individuals today. So look forward to getting into what we're going to be discussing.
Well, yeah, no, I'm really intrigued by this one because, you know, we're talking about money. That's your financial planner. Money is your currency, as it were, as a matter of fact. But you want to talk about mindset, and I want to know why mindset even matters when it comes to building wealth.
Yeah, mindset and money. And I always like to say what you focus on grows. And so, you really think about that. What you focus on, you will find. And so, why does mindset matter when it comes to building wealth? And that's kind of just a question I've had to ask myself for a long time. And it's a foundational question but most people just think wealth is about income, investments, maybe an inheritance, it's work. But here's the truth. Wealth is really about an 80% mindset. It's a mindset, 20% strategy. So if your beliefs are off, your behavior will be too. And that kind of thinking can sabotage the best plan. Like we talked about previously on an earlier show about part of my role of an advisor is not just creating plans, not just putting the investments together and the strategies, but sometimes it's backing people off the cliff of saying, hey, I'm getting ready to make this decision. What's going to happen? And it's saying, wait, let's change the mindset and the behavior behind that. Because, I've seen average income earners become financial. Many school teachers, firefighters, police officers that we work with, they become financially free while sometimes high income earners stay stuck because it's a simple mindset. So if someone believes money is scarce, they hoard, they panic, they miss opportunities. If they believe money is a tool, they plan, they invest, they grow. So it's almost like, think about the scripture, Proverbs 23. As a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. So mindset isn't fluff. I think I really look at mindset. It's fuel. It's where I'm going. It's the creation that can happen. So we'll dig into that.
Yeah, I do want to dig into that because you anticipated my next question when you talk about belief. It's like, and you answered some of this already, but how does belief about money actually shape our day-to-day financial decisions? I can see how it affects our mindset, but how does it affect us in a practical sense?
Well, it affects us in a practical sense from a standpoint of our decision-making. So let's kind of I've been studying this concept called the drama triangle. And you got the drama triangle on one side, and you got this empowerment dynamic on the other. So the drama triangle is rooted in kind of, it's a triangle. So there's three corners to it. One is a victim mindset, a rescuer, and a persecutor. And if you think about a lot of our mindset, even myself, there are times that I will live in a rescuer mindset. I have to go rescue and solve the problem. And if that problem's not being solved, then I go to a persecutor. I want to blame. And then it's like, then I root around then I become the victim. It's like, wait a minute. I need to move out of that drama triangle and go to more of a creator, a challenger, or a coach. And when it comes to my money mindset, if I'm living in a, oh, woe me, a victim mindset, and I'm comparing myself to others versus going and becoming a creator, a challenger, or even a coach with money, like what we're doing with this show right now elevates me up to be a creator, a coach. It challenged me with my thought process because I had to sit here before these shows and go through a thinking process. And it makes me question my own beliefs, makes me see my own, what am I really focused on? What's the bigger picture? Where can I personally be stuck in my own money process and my own thoughts behind money and my own beliefs? And if I'm stuck, how do I get out of that to go into a growing and giving phase? Because what happens is many of us, and I see it with clients, all the time. Many think if I lose this money, I lose safety because there's a feeling or an emotion behind
yeah, that's understandable. Yes,
And if they go into a steward mindset or growth and giving, it's like money begins to work for them. And there's a difference in thinking that begins to occur. So it's like, it's fun. I mean, it's an interesting conversation with clients of saying like, Bryan, I don't want to invest in the markets. Okay, well, to explain to me what that means to you. I mean, let's think about the S&P 500, the Standard & Poor's 500, made up of the largest 500 companies of the United States, not just covering technology, but we're talking about consumer staples, Home Depot, Lowe's. I mean, we go through a list of different companies. Clients will think in their minds, if I invest into the S&P 500, I could lose all my money. I'm like, is that real? I mean, think about what a stretch that would have to be for the S&P 500 to lose all your money. That'd be all the 500 largest companies going out of business. That's like Apple going out of business, Ford going out of business, Home Depot, all of these companies. It'd be a very, very extreme. That's like the end of our economy, effectively.
Yeah.
So like that's doomsday. So because you're not invested and you did something different, we're all going to be affected. So, but there's a mindset with that of the fear that if I lose this, I lose my safety. And if I lose my safety, what really happens emotionally to that individual? It's like, and it was rooted somewhere in their past, from their childhood, from their grandpa. Someone exposed them to the loss of something and it meant something to them. There's an emotional behavior behind it. So sometimes I got to root that out of people so they can go live their lives and try to show people, like many retirees I have, they're afraid of spending money.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I mean, and look, people all the time. I mean, the answer all the time is, look, I'm living on a fixed income, so that it's you may get a raise, but I'm not going to get a raise. I mean, that, literally they're terrified. They're going to outlive their money. I think that's probably a healthy fear a little bit. Wouldn't you agree, Bryan? To some degree.
It's healthy, but sometimes I really think it's not, because they put so much attention and energy behind that thought that they stress over it. They lose sleep over it. And I tell clients, I love that. I get it quite frequently. It's like, Bryan, I have stayed up all night thinking about some financial decision. And I say, why didn't you just call? We just solved it in 15 minutes. Like they're stressed over it for days, weeks, losing sleep. And they're like, oh, well, I didn't think about it. I'm like, call. We will address it and solve it. And we normally address it and solve it in 15 minutes. Because it's just, when you work with thousands of clients, you've done this for so long, you can kind of, I want to understand what their goal is, what they're trying to solve. And then we look at it and say, all right, this is what we can do. Here are some choices and options. Let's walk through it. So I think sometimes we have to do an audit on our own money story. So where did our beliefs come from? Was money a source of stress, secrecy? I mean, some people, money is a source of secrecy. Well, they don't want to talk about with their friends. They don't talk about with their families. So it's a secrecy. There's a lack of exposure to it. It's even a source of scarcity since childhood. Mm-hmm. So where did we get our identity around money before? And so that's something I've really had to explore through my own family. My mom's vision of money, her view of money is different than my father's, even my grandparents. And being in the money business, I had to go through my own, what are my beliefs around it? Not what my parents taught me. Right. What are truly my beliefs? And I had to really dig that out. And it was challenging, because here I'm in this space that my father brought me into the business 27 years ago. I've been around it. And I'm like, wait, are these thoughts rooted in scarcity and stress, or abundance and clarity and purpose? And I really had to change my own mindset so I can really say, is at the root, is my money beliefs in abundance? I want people to hear that. Is it in abundance? Is it in clarity? And is it designed with purpose? Where is it anchored? And when I started really shifting mine, my planning, my own life change, and the planning that I really want to help clients with, it's not just going to be based on performance. It's going to be based on design and purpose.
Well, then I've got a question for you. Okay. How do you change, or how does a person change their mindset, and to what, because probably they're looking for a change in mindset. They've had a set of limiting beliefs for a really long time. And how hard is it to escape or rid yourself of those limiting beliefs?
So here's what I do personally. And this is what I encourage clients and friends and people to go through it. When those beliefs, the thoughts, the subconscious, when that thought rises up, and you have to be present and capture it. I write it down. Before this even call, I had a thought come up. I put it right in my phone because I wanted to capture it. So this afternoon, I can begin to process it. I can think through it. Because the question I want to ask myself is this thought real? Is this real thought? Is this question I'm asking, is it a real one? Could I ask?
Versus what?
Well, can I reframe the question? Can I ask myself a different question? Because is the question or the thought I'm having, what is it rooted in? Where is it, when I say rooted, where is it coming from? Is it coming from a source of scarcity, fear? Where is this idea design come from? It's somewhere in me. I came up with it. So I have to be able to capture it. One, I write it down. So then I'm like, all right, I see you. I caught you. I caught you thought. You're not going to stay in there and let it like fester and continue to grow. I caught you. So now that I've caught it, what do I want to do with it? How can I evaluate it? How can I shift it? How can I see, is this thought serving me? Is it rooted in where I want to go in my life? I turned 50 this year. So I'm looking at some of the thoughts of saying, all right, are these old thoughts still serving me of my design, what I'm creating for my life? Is this thought clear? Is it on purpose? Is it rooted in abundance and giving and love? If it's not, I need to look at bridging that gap between this old behavior or thought and what I really want. So I tell everyone, you have to capture that thought first, write it down. If you don't know how to go through the thinking or the thinking process behind it, reach out. Let's go through it together. Let's understand, where did that thought come from? Where is it your thought? Is that thought really yours? Or was it something your parents or the news or someone else gave you, and you just started allowing it to serve you? You started being driven by this thought, and you're like, it doesn't serve me. It stresses me out. It scares me. Well, great. Let's create a new one in there. Let's create something new that you can begin anchoring that new abundant or loving or giving thought to. And that becomes the one that we begin designing your life around, your money thoughts, the creation around. So I think it really comes down to, I know this is a hard word for people to get to, but the idea of being present. And if you're not allowing a presence in your life where you're able to say, I love it. Bill, this is such a big one for me. When I have a thought come up and I get to capture it, I'm talking about capture. I'm like, aha, I got you thought. I'm like, I heard you, and I'm like, I got you, and I get to write it down. I'm like, no, now I get to begin to question it. I get to say, is this really the thought I want in me? And then it's that moment I get to spiritually begin to change where I'm going with it. I don't have to let it serve me, drive me, or control me throughout the day or my future, because now I see it. I caught it. And it's like, I get to do something around that thought. So I hope that's really, and please reach out, because I love going through the money and mindset behavior with clients and families and friends. Because wealth is not about just a return on investments. Wealth is about return on your life, an ROL. And that's what we really want is, yes, we are in the money business.
Yeah.
But when you think better, you plan better. When you plan better, you live better. Think about that.
Yeah. For anybody who's listening to this and this resonates with them and they're not already a client of yours, what is the best way for them to reach out and have a conversation with you about this very topic, Bryan?
Yeah, absolutely, Bill. So anyone listening, if you're listening and you're ready to upgrade your financial life, start by upgrading your mindset. And if you reach out to repplewealthgroup.com or Bryan, Bryan at garepple.com. And there's a link here into the podcast. Get on the calendar. Let's just set up a time to either go through this, see if we're a fit working together. So what I'm focused on, is it aligned where I want to go? I want you to ask that yourself. Ask yourself that, because what you focus on will grow.
Yeah. And all of that information on how to get a hold of Bryan is in the show notes. So the next thing you need to do is really simple. If you're not a subscriber already, hit the follow button, become a subscriber, like the podcast, give it a like, tell people about it. Word of mouth promotion is very much appreciated. So thank you. And thank you for taking the time to listen today. And please do remember that you can go out today and make today a great day or not. The choice is yours. Until next time, I'm Bill Tucker on behalf of Bryan and everybody at Repple Wealth. Thanks for taking the time to listen today. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Brain Wealth with Bryan Repple. Click the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available. Visit our website at www.repplewealthgroup.com. That's REPPLE wealthgroup.com. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Bryan Repple. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investing advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions you may have regarding your investment planning. Bryan Repple is a registered representative and investment advisor for G.A. Repple & Company, member of FINRA SIPC.